Hello people, welcome back to Beauty Jam. I had no idea what to film today, so I thought I'd just do another installment of the Get to Know Me thing. I think this is part 4, I'm not 100% sure. So if you haven't seen the other 3 parts, then, go and check them out. But this is part 4. Yeah, let's get into it. So, again, if I answer questions again, I apologise, but I haven't kept track of what I have answered and what I haven't. So, the first thing that stuck out to me was, what was your favourite / worst subject in high school? Now, this is tricky for favourite. It's tricky for favourite. It's not tricky for worst. So, favourite subject would have to have been either, I can't pick, either IT, because I did love computers and stuff, and that's what I actually went into, so I have to pick IT obviously, or media. I really liked media as well, but again, if you think about it, YouTube and editing and blah blah blah, that's kind of what I went into. I went into media / IT technically, because this is all done on the internet and stuff, so technically I did go into both of those things, but those were my 2 favourite subjects at school. I did also like others. I liked music, I liked art, I did like those, but they're just, those would probably be my favourite. My least favourite is PE. Oh, who didn't see that one come in? Everybody saw that come in. Yeah, I hated PE. I used to find excuses. We had, I don't know whether every school had it, but we had like a trial mentor session, which is where you get a mentor kind of assigned to you, and you always had an hour with them, and it would always be out of one of your lessons. And she used to say to me, oh, when do you want your next mentoring session? And I always used to say, whenever I've next got PE. And it was just my way of getting out of PE, and she used to smile and laugh about it because she knew that I hated PE, and she used to go along with it, so she always used to take me out of PE, which was great. I used to be smiling from ear to ear when everybody else had got PE, but I'd got mentoring. It was great. So, yeah. And that was my favourite. That was my, not favourite, no, that was my worst lesson, was PE. And it's purely because they used to, guys, I've never been like cardio anyway, but they used to make us go outside in the rain. We used to have to play football with like the big shin pads and blah blah blah, and hockey was the worst. That was the worst. I didn't mind when we were doing hockey. I didn't mind playing football. Like, I'll play football for an hour if we don't have to do hockey, because genuinely hockey was the worst, and the hockey sticks and the gum shields, can't be dealing with it. No thanks, not going back, never again. And yeah, although I did used to hate it when they used to make us play football on the tarmac. I used to think, we've got a massive school field and you're going to make us play football on the tarmac. It makes no sense. It's just like, oh, but it's raining and it's raining and the grass will be slippy. Like, yeah, it's raining. What are we doing outside then, But when we used to have to play on the tarmac, I used to hate it because I used to think, if I fall over, like, it's not grass, So I did used to hate it when we played it on the tarmac. But hockey was the worst. Swimming, I used to enjoy swimming, but I hated my hair being constantly wet for the rest of the day. So that was kind of a love-hate thing. I used to love like swimming as the activity, but I used to hate my hair being constantly wet for the rest of the day and all the lessons and blah blah blah. So that was kind of a love-hate thing. But basketball, guys, I'm 5'2". I ain't getting that ball in that basket. You gotta be joking, right? So that was one of them. I used to just kind of sit on the bench for most of that. What else? Oh, rounders. That was what we used to play the most, to be honest. When the summer came, it was always rounders. That's not too bad. I used to be very generous. I'll tell you something. I remember this once. We had, like, our PE teacher was not stupid. Like, this was like year 7, year 8. She was not stupid, right? She knew like what you were up to, and whenever we used to have rounders, you're obviously in 2 teams. When I was on the, like when you are fielding, I always used to go on the field, and I used to stand. Okay, I used to stand. Most people are right-handed. Okay, this was my logic at like 13, 14, right? Most people are right-handed. You've got the odd one that's left, but most are right. So when they hit a ball, they're going to hit it that way, which is over there. So I used to field over there so that I never had to fetch the ball, and I literally just used to have to stand there and chat with the person who's on first base, you know? So that was I always used to field over there. That was the plan. When we were lining up to hit the ball, I always used to be very generous. I used to show my generosity by letting the person behind me go in front, and I constantly did that, and it used to work for me, and that hour was great because that used to work until my teacher clicked on to what I was doing. And our teacher used to always call us by our second names, the one anyway. The others didn't, but the one, it was always second name terms. So when you're being very generous to your friends by letting them go in front of you, and you just hear Parker being bellowed from across the field, it is not a funny sight at all. And they made me go, and I hated it. I hated it. Because I thought I was being smart, and I was showing my generosity, you know? They always say that people in our generation don't think about others. I was thinking about others. Others wanted to play the game, you know? So I let them go in front. Yeah, and it was just Parker being bellowed from across the field. I remember that, year 7 or year 8. Wasn't funny. But he was an okay teacher. He was very old school, you know, but he was an okay teacher. And I remember once we were playing rounders, and no, we weren't. We were playing beat the ball, which is similar to rounders, but the ball gets thrown to first, second, third, and fourth, and you have to beat the ball like around. So it's similar to rounders, but not quite. And I remember I had to go, you know, and I was standing there, and the bat that we used, there was like a flat side, and then the other side was kind of curved. I didn't know this, right? So I was standing there with the bat, and I was ready, like the picture was like there, and I was ready, right? And the teacher says to me from, you know, again, turn round, right? So when you say to me, turn round, like, guys, if you say to me, turn around, like, turn round, I'm thinking that I need to physically turn round. So I turned round thinking, well, she's the teacher, she knows best, right? So I turned around with my back to the picture, and I was standing there still ready to hit the ball, and I was thinking, what on earth? I'm not going to be able to hit the ball like this. I was actually thinking the teacher was stupid, right? And then she comes marching over to me, laughing her head off, like she's actually laughing, and she says to me, I meant turn the bat around. Like, say that then. Don't just say turn around, because I'm going to think you mean actually turn around. So I stood there and physically turned around in front of the whole class, and everybody started laughing, even the teacher. And then I realised that I'd got the bat on the curved side. I'd got it backwards, basically, and that's what she meant, turn round. And I was like, oh, that was one of those moments where you just feel like the embarrassment come over you. But it was funny, and I did laugh about it, but it was just one of those moments where, man, that was a dumb thing to do, and I did it, you know. I also remember the once where I was in... Oh, wait, how did this go about now? I was in basketball, and I was on the bench, and I don't remember how this happened, but we managed to sneak out of the gym, and we went up to the changing rooms because we were just going to go and chill in there, and we pushed the door and it's locked. The changing rooms were locked because obviously they lock them because that's where everyone's stuff is, which I totally get. We won't go in there to like snoop and steal or anything, we just literally wanted to get out of PE. So we kind of looked at each other, and we were like, crap, there's nowhere else that we can go, you know, because the door's locked. And I noticed that the boys' changing room was open. Now, at the back of the changing rooms is a door, and it's always open. The other side of the changing rooms, and the boys and the girls link together because it leads towards like a fire exit, and that's how it used to happen. And when we were getting changed for PE, there always used to be a teacher kind of stood by that fire exit, so no boys could like go into the girls or girls into the boys. You know how it is. So we were aware of this door, and the boys' changing rooms was like wedged open, and me and my friends were like, do we? You know, like, because we were listening and there was no noise, like no noise, and we thought like, the boys aren't in there. Don't know why the door's open, but the boys aren't in there, so surely we can just like nip through to the fire exit and into the girls' changing room, you know. So we did. Sneakily, we were like creeping through the boys' changing rooms, and you know where like you haven't been to a part of the school, so you're kind of scanning for what it looks like. Well, I was kind of doing that, alright? There was no humans in there, but I was just kind of being a bit... I'm a Parker, okay? I was being a bit nosy, because this is a part of the school I've never seen. I've never been in the boys' changing room, so I'm like looking about. Like, they had urinals and stuff, and I was like, man, you know, they'd be living, right? They'd be living because they got urinals, but I'm just saying, right? And, it was kind of similar to our setup, but a little bit different. They had one toilet, we had 3, but they had urinals as well, so that kind of makes sense. And they've got like showers and stuff, and the showers look similar to ours, but ours were like glass. Theirs was like, ours was like frosted glass, like all over, whereas theirs was just like the one panel. So yeah, that was a bit. I was just having a bit of a nose, right? And then all of a sudden, I hear this toilet flush, and I'm like, oh crap, there is somebody in here. So I start panicking. Obviously, I've never been in this place before, so I'm like trying to panic, trying to find this door, find the door, get through to the fire exit and into the girls' changing rooms, and like a sigh of relief came over me. And then I realised after, because we were like listening against the girls' changing rooms door, and there was nothing. We realised after that it wasn't a toilet flushing, it was the urinals, because the urinals flush on like, it must be like timed. So I panicked for absolutely no reason. No reason. And everyone was laughing at me because I just started panicking, you know? So, yeah. And then we spent the rest of PE in the girls' changing rooms, and when the teacher came, we were like, oh, you locked us in. And she was like, did I? Oh, sorry, girls, I didn't realise. And we were like, yeah, you locked us in. We couldn't get out. Sneaky, we were. But, yeah, when it came to PE, that was where I got most of telling off. Like, I never got told off at school. I was good till it came to PE. And then I'd get told off because I'm not participating, or I'm being, you know, just being a little... idiot, you know. So yeah, that was where I got most of my detentions as well, to be honest. I got 3 detentions during my school time. 2 of them were from PE, and 1 of them was for being late more than 3 times in a week, which again shouldn't surprise anybody. But the 1 detention I got from PE, I actually went... Wait. We got, I forgot how this exactly happened, but basically the teacher was talking and so was I, and I shouldn't have been, and she was like, you know, stop talking when I'm talking, blah blah blah, you're always doing this. So me and my friend got in trouble, and we got a detention for talking. So we were standing in the corridor, because the detention was there was a spider on the wall, if you're wondering why I'm looking up there. Yeah, the detention was held in the corridor, so we were standing there, and with our bags and stuff, because obviously it was the end of school, and we were like, you know, and me and my friends started talking, and she was like, you have to be quiet in, you know, like, be quiet in detention, blah blah blah. So I was like, okay. So we just started like talking quietly, little hum here and there, and she was like, oh, what's the point in being here if you're going to be talking, blah blah, and she let us go. It was the shortest detention. We were supposed to be there for 30 minutes. We were there for like 10. And I was like, are you joking? We were walking home. Like, we got out of detention by talking, you know? But I don't know whether she just felt it was ridiculous for having us in detention for talking, you know? But we weren't really naughty in PE. It's just we just didn't want to do it, you know. So that's kind of how that all went down. Yeah, you know what, guys? I'm actually going to leave this video here. I'm going to turn this into, rather than a get to know me, this is going to be just like a school stories thing. That was my PE experience. Honestly, there's more stories like that from school that I'd have to get them straight in my head first because I have to know like certain things. But there's a lot of school stories that I could tell, and they're all pretty funny, to be honest. So yeah, I'm going to leave this video here because I genuinely thought I was going to answer loads of questions, but I just got talking about PE and then that was that. It just kind of went away. So yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe for more videos from me. Make sure you check out the other episodes in Get to Know Me. They're not quite like this one. This one was different, but yeah. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!